So, I wasn't expecting my last video to get over 1 million views, so that is very good. Thank you to everyone who shared the video and made that happen. I very appreciate it. So, this video I'm going to be covering something that you probably read a lot in my last video. You may have seen it in the comments a lot. And this is going to be regarding white genocide. But, you know, as some of you may know, I've made videos about white genocide in the past, like about 8-9 months ago. But I only covered the mantra and the basics. Right now I'm going to be focusing directly on white genocide. You know, why it's happening, how it's happened, and how it's going to affect you, whether you're white or non-white. This should affect everybody. But first we've got to look at diversity and multiculturalism, the two buzzwords that are used constantly by the left to describe white genocide. That's just, you know, the rose-tinted code word, isn't it? It's like, yeah, it's as simple as that. White genocide is multiculturalism. That's what it equals, and I'll tell you why. Because let's take a look at where multiculturalism is. Is it in Europe? Yes, it is. It's in Great Britain. Multiculturalism is in Ireland. Multiculturalism is in the United States. Multiculturalism is in Canada, in Australia, in New Zealand. Multiculturalism is in Japan. Wait a minute. It's not in Japan, because Japan is predominantly Japanese. There's a Japanese culture there. They don't want to become alien in their own country. But like China, no wait, multiculturalism isn't there either. It's predominantly Chinese. What about multiculturalism in Zimbabwe? Oh no, definitely not in Zimbabwe, because they obviously want to keep Zimbabwe Zimbabwean. What about Libyan? Do they have multicultural? They may be torn by war, but it's still a predominantly Libyan country. How weirded out would you be if you turned on the news to see the Libyan civil war, to see Italians and French and British running around fighting each other? Yeah, it'd be pretty weird. You'd be thinking, is that a Libyan civil war or a British or what? You know, very strange. No, multiculturalism is confined to white nations. Now, let's take a look at multiculturalism. It was constructed to change the former society. Now, what was the former societies of these white nations? And what was so wrong with them that had to be changed? Now, multiculturalism is a social construct. And it's funny how these people who complain about race, you know, say, oh, race is just a mirage, it's a social construct, so we can put boundaries between each other, at the same time preaching about diversity and multiculturalism like it's been around since the dawn of time. Yes, these people are hypocrites. These people that made multiculturalism, and I say made because they were the very creators of this, okay, and you know who I'm talking about, had something to gain from this. Oh yes, they had something to gain from this. But what did multiculturalism want to change? Why was it constructed? Okay, multiculturalism was constructed because it's a social construct, and it was to change the former societies of these white nations. Those former societies are white societies. That is what multiculturalism wants to change. And it has changed white societies. But multiculturalism isn't stopping there. Because white societies all over Europe and all over the United States were changed by the early 90s. Okay? We were culturally and demographically changed then. But now it's 2011 and you can clearly see that multiculturalism is still biting away at these former white societies. Okay? In France, you know, 60% of all newborns in Paris, non-French. In Britain, you've seen the riots this year, you've seen the effects of multiculturalism. It's pretty much going to get worse. In the United States, the white demographic just keeps on going down. You know, you have white people leaving states such as California and Florida simply because they just can't cope anymore with being a minority. Okay, you've seen what happens to cities like Detroit when they get turned into in the ghettos when the white people leave. That is what's happened in the United States. Okay, and you also remember the riots in the 90s, and basically multiculturalism brings destruction, and it's not stopping now. So multiculturalism doesn't just want to change white society, it wants to completely annihilate it, because it isn't just stopping at changing us, it wants to just keep going and going and going and going until they push us to the limit. So, to put in simple words, it was white society. Someone had a problem with white society. So they constructed the idea of multiculturalism, to blend in all cultures into white society, to dilute this white society. However, after they diluted us, they wanted more. They wanted this white society to be completely alienated and destroyed. So they put it in overdrive. They start pumping hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of immigrants from Africa and South America and Asia into Europe and the United States to completely outnumber the natives. Okay? And that is multiculturalism. And that, my friend, is white genocide. Because the Native Americans, they may not have been white. You certainly can admit that if the whites never founded America, I doubt it would be a first world country. And Europe, well, Europe speaks for itself. It's one of the most progressive continents on Earth. The standards of living there are fantastic. And why? Because the Native Americans have built it up. After 2 world wars, the Native Europeans put their guns down and built up Europe, just to have it taken away by Zionists who believe it's best that white society is completely destroyed and replaced by third world immigrants. Third worldism. I think that's what the Zionists want. It is what they want. They want third worldism. So they can completely dominate. You know, their elders talked about this, long time ago. You know, they talked about how they would take out the main enemy, the white European, that they would, neutralize the Asian, and they would rule over a world of darker people. And this is coming true. So I hope you guys realize what this is. This is white genocide. And if you don't see it now, you never will. And if you are white, then please wake up. If you are non-white, you probably want white genocide. I don't know why. Probably because you have prejudice against the race that's more successful. Or maybe you just get a kick out of it. I don't know. But it's going to affect you as well. Because let me tell you something. When the whites are gone from this earth won't be worth living anymore. So thank you guys for watching, and goodbye. And stop white genocide.